or something like that.
Same. I
Yeah.
definitely same.
Hold
Same.
on.
I gotta be a
Then
part of
let's
that.
if y'all we could do it in front of the people. It don't matter. Do you want to do it on Jay's channel? We can set up a day and time and just do it on
Nah,
Yeah.
there.
cause I hear things and I'm analyzing people personalities, and I think we should talk about it first, and then we could do whatever later, because this is on the self thing with me, and
Okay.
Mm.
it really don't matter if the
I
people
feel
here, but
you.
I'm really doing it for y'all too
Yeah, no
right now.
problem. Well, Jay, can I drop my website real quick?
Sure, you can.
All right, everybody, you can go to solvingraceproblem.org to see more about what I do. Also, the brothers there, just email me solvingraceproblem@gmail.com, and we could chop it up about specifics. But thanks for having me, Jay, and peace to the brothers on the panel. Can I leave
Quite
with
welcome. You're
one
quite
more
welcome.
verse? One more verse. This is Exodus 20 and 16. I'll end here. Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. All right, peace to you, brothers. Peace and
Peace,
black
bro. Peace.
liberation.
Hey, look in
Peace.
that
Stop
back
being
chat. I got
subliminal.
my
Stop being
email
Peace and
subliminal.
light
in
to you.
bro.
Stop being subliminal, man. Most I don't like that. Stop being subliminal, man. Don't be throwing that.
Okay. Canaanland Morris, what's going on, man? Peace to you, bro.
Yo,
Peace.
peace to you, fam. Peace to everybody on the panel. Big up yourself.
Peace, peace,
Big up
Peace,
yourself.
peace.
peace,
This is
Curry.
what's needed. This is what's
I ain't
needed.
speak to you,
Fam
Curry,
coming
baby. What's
together.
up, bro?
Peace.
What you said?
No, I said peace to you, man. I ain't mean it. I ain't get to. I'm gonna acknowledge you on the panel. That's
Oh,
all.
peace, bro. Peace. It's all
Yeah.
love.
What's up?
Yeah.
Peace, bro.
Peace.
Peace, man.
It's
Peace.
good that you're here, man. We had to have this discussion. So yeah, man. We just gotta, you know, but well, go ahead.
Yeah, well, just basically listening in.
Mm.
I think it's important for our people to actually look into the fact that identity is very important, and it doesn't matter what you call yourself. Because when we talk to anybody else in the world, majority of them identify themselves either by some tribal connection or they have a nationality. And
Mm-hmm.
we're the only people in the world that play that we're colors and that we're continents, and it doesn't matter what we call ourselves. So that's why we're the ones that are suffering the most. All we got to do is look
Yep.
outside and see who's suffering. And we
Big
know
facts.
our people are the ones that are suffering the most, and majority of people are living off of our virtues because we're too dumb to even know what's going on.
Yep.
Right.
And one thing I'm going to agree with is that our biggest problem is not this European. Our biggest problem is our own that keeps selling us out.
Facts.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes. And that's not what while we're on that subject, let's talk about the Dirty Moors. Candyland, can you break down I'll give you maybe about 5-10 minutes, but could you break it down kind of how the Dirty Moors sold us out? I mean, not just Dirty Moors,
Yeah.
but Aboriginals as well.
Well, look at it like this.
Mm.
Leave the European out of everything. We're not even talking about any Europeans right now, right?
Mm.
Everybody knows that there's good people and there's evil people. There's agreeable people and there's disagreeable people. Disagreeable people.
Mm.
The people who are disagreeable, the people who have the low vibratory energy, are always going to be trying to make it seem as if, you know, they know what's going on, and the people who read and study and, you know, actually have some common sense don't know what's going on. And the problem with this influx or perpetuation of what we call boule or sellouts or whatever is because of the people. It's not them. They're playing their part because they're disagreeable. That's what they do. They're not gonna ever not change what they're doing. The problem is the people don't study. The people want to watch YouTube instead of read books or whatever. So they're the ones that's gonna get played. And again, they're gonna be played by their own. The secondary player is the European. But when we go check quote unquote slave story, it was African kings that were selling out their people. It wasn't I didn't see no Europeans apologize for slavery. All I'm seeing is African countries apologizing for slavery.
Mm.
So the issue with dirty people is that the good people who are allowing this to happen are the ones who lack the knowledge.
Right.
Right? Because trust me, the dirty people, they already have the knowledge. They know what's good. They know what has to be done. They know what they shouldn't be doing. And they're taking the position of doing what they're doing to cause this confusion and to cause this imbalance within our ranks.
Right.
If you go talk to China, they put their traitors against a wall. If you go talk to India, they hang their traitors on a tree. If you go talk to Russia, they put their traitors in some jail that you don't even know that jail exists or whatever. Right?
Right.
So
Correct.
you know, not taking anything away from, you know, there having to be that opponent. You know what I mean? Like there's always going to be a side. Somebody's always going to play the underdog, and somebody's going to have to, you know, be the bad guy.
Correct. So with that being said, let me show you guys my screen real quick. Do you think that if someone's just starting out, what 2 documents do you think we need to have in hand? I'm going to put up another one, but the first one, let me share my screen real quick, is I think we all should have this document right here. Everybody should actually know this, study it, read it all the time, and keep it on deck with you. It's the American Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples. Do you think that we should have that with us at all times, as well as the U.S. Constitution?
Most definite. The Declaration of Rights, because it's outlining the rights that the United Nations or the world recognize Indigenous people have. Right? But remember, you have to be of that status in order for those rights to apply. So you can't be black and say that apply the UN Indigenous rights to you. You can't be Negro and say apply those things. You can't be colored and say apply those things. You can't be African slave that came from somewhere else and tell them apply those things. You have to be tied to a nation, because the people who put that out are the United Nations. So if you're not part of a nation, don't talk about UN Declaration of Rights or anything like that, because it won't be used to protect you. And when they violate you, when you're holding that, you're going to blame them for racism. When it's not racism, it's because you're in a dead status. So those things don't apply to you. Only nigger codes apply to people who don't have a status. And that's the whole thing with Moors and telling our people that they're not black and all that type of stuff, and stop calling European white and all that, because now with the other document, the Constitution, that's what you're supposed to use to hold these Europeans to their obligations to you when they're in your land, which is the Americas.
Right, correct.
Because they have oaths, they have obligations to that Constitution. Nothing else matters.
But I think the obligation of all of us should be the oath of office. We should take, and it shouldn't be the oath to the party. I'm sorry about that. But it isn't the oath to the party. It's the oath to our office to obey the law, and the law is the Constitution.
With these people.
I got a question.
Yes.
If I can pose one to the floor. Peace, kind of name more. This is Kerry B.
Peace, bro.
My question is, you speak of nationality being the solution. Is there a way that you cannot identify as a Moor or Moorish American and still be in the same nation as Moors or Moorish American?
The only way you would do that is by having, if you don't want to say that you're Moor, fine. You better have the mindset of a Moor.
I agree.
If you want to play
that 100%. And that's why.
Yeah, if you want to play that you're not a Moor, it's cool. It's not like we're not even gonna really get on it like that, because you know, when we have situations with Moors dealing with colonizers, not every Moor is going to say I'm a Moor and get off their stuff. What a Moor is going to do is he's going to put the law up against his colonizer, and then the colonizer has to pick, well, okay, what am I going to do? Am I going to risk maybe getting sued by this individual because I really don't know what he knows, but he doesn't talk like the average nigger? Or do I just, you know, say forget it, handcuff him, take him wherever, and then see where this goes? Majority of times, they're going to leave the individual alone, because they already know that if they get the wrong individual, they're going to get sued. Their boss or whatever is going to get sued. Their boss's boss might get some type of letters or whatever in order for, you know, some type of remedy or recourse to happen. But if we go back again to the UN declarations, how is somebody going to say, I want to enforce that, but then they're not going to identify themselves with a nationality when that document says everybody has a right to a nationality? And remember, that's the world talking. We're not talking about some little corner pocket like how conscious people talk, or little different schools of thought talk and have people think that, oh yeah, well, what we're saying is really what it is. Like I'm saying, like the brother was quoting the Bible and stuff like that. Me personally, I don't deal with Bibles in that perspective, but I know, because I have a Bible metaphysical dictionary, I know that that book is a metaphysical book. That's not some book that you just read and quote stuff. Because there's a metaphysical Bible dictionary, which means that there's words in the Bible that are not face value words. It's metaphysical. And if you're not reading it from a metaphysical perspective, then you're going to miss the message.
When you say metaphysical, are you talking about doing spells and shit? Because I see a lot of people doing spells with the book of Psalms on YouTube.
Well, I mean, you know what, like when we say spells, for example, everybody that's typing in the chat, that's spells, because spells is spelling.
The word spelling and spell not only relates to writing letters out to form words. A magic spell and spelling with magic was the original purpose of words according to Tehuti thought. To spell is to cast magic energy with a definite purpose. Write and writing is significant as well, for it contains the word rite, R-I-T-E, as in ceremony or ritual. This word is usually related to secret traditions utilized to assist one in living magically. Also, the word right is the same sound as right, R-I-G-H-T. Right angles are 90 degrees, a square. This 90, or number 9, speaking in numerology, is found in all sacred geometric angles in some form or another.
Spells are words. Spells is energy. Spells isn't, some witch or some warlock did something, or people got, they got a white and black checkered floor with a coffin and they're doing, that's not spells. Everybody casts spells. If your mom gives you the look and you stop doing whatever you're doing that's bad because you know the look means you're going to get your ass bust, that's a spell she just put on you.
So what do I mean by the secret spells of the English language? Well, let me share with you what I call our premier life sentence. And it goes something like this. We awake each morning and go off during the weekdays to earn the living at various jobs and undertakings until we come to the weekend. And this seems perfectly acceptable to most people. However, more people die between 6 and 9 on a Monday morning than any other time of the week. So I do what I call a translation of the English language, and I spell that Trance, with the idea that words cast spells. So when you translate that life sentence, you remember that awake is a funeral party for the dead. Mourning is the state you're in when you attend a wake. And you would have to be in a weekdays to earn the living, since urns are for the ashes of the dead. We call our jobs undertakings. Job itself is a Hebrew word for persecuted. And what we get at the end of this perverse bargain with life is the weak end of the deal, as we become progressively weakened ourselves. And so our most prevalent greeting to each other is hello, the reverse of which is, oh, hell. And at first, I suspected the hands of collusion entangling the language to foster illusion. And I think it's quite true that a culture's theology has a great deal to do with a word's etymology. and how it evolves over time to combine incompatible meanings that may undermine the original thoughts it was meant to define. But now, I don't think it's planned, for the thing that I've found is that like concepts can gravitate toward the same sound and vibrate at the rate that our thoughts designate. Because words are electromagnetic vibrations whose fine alphabetic tintinnabulations can take on the tint of our true expectations, which they then imprint on our metal of mind, causing sounds to adhere when they're of the same kind.
Got you.
Can I ask a question about so the same people who conquered these lands, I mean, was they following law when they conquered you? You know what I'm saying? If they're in power, what makes I mean, I'm not against the law and all that, but I just think if the people are in power,
Yeah.
like they're not they were lawless from the beginning. They
Right.
have the power to say, like, if I go to court, the judge has the power to say, get the hell out of here. So
Right.
I don't understand, like, how
But
people think they can get freedom through law.
okay,
When
look
the
at it.
people conquered you, they took it by the gun.
Look at it like this. The power that they have is because some Asiatic gave it to them. The power that they have is because some Asiatic gave it to them. They don't have to took these people, put them onto certain knowledge, let them know where the secret routes were, let them know that, oh yeah, well, you don't got to go that way, you can go down this way and whatever like that in order to get to the whatever it is you're trying to get to. And that's how these people got the power, because after that individual sells out, trust me, they take that person out. That's why Harriet Tubman told all these Negroes, when we get off the plantation and we're walking up into whatever like that, and you're talking about, oh, my feet are cold, I'm going to turn back, we're killing you right here. And that's a quote. That's why Harriet Tubman always had her pistol.
So are you saying that these people conquered by law and not by the gun?
Say that again?
They conquered by the gun or by laws?
No, they conquered by having people like that look like us working with them. They didn't conquer because they had guns, because their guns are no match for an axe and a bow and arrow. Trust me. They were having serious, how you think they had AK-47s back then? What gun you think they got back then that they could shoot two people or three people running at them?
Just basic muskets, right?
I mean, come on, brother. Like, what are we talking about?
What are they doing with a musket? I'm talking about back then. We're talking about how they got into the power. We're not talking about the power they have today after all these years of sellouts working with them.
I mean, when they kicked the Moors out of Spain in 1492 and conquered Granada, bro, they did it with war. I mean, they were.
Yeah, but again, when they say they kicked the Moors out of Spain and whatever, it wasn't. They didn't kick the Moors out of Spain. A Moor sold out Granada to the Europeans. It ain't the European. We keep thinking that the European is the one who is doing what.
He may have had help, but he still had to put in the work, bro. That's what I'm saying. Like today, even today, like we know there's always gonna be sellouts. Everyone has sellouts, but
always gonna be sellouts.
But no, they're not. Okay, let's just say most of our people woke up and claimed their nationality.
Yeah.
Right? And so you think the Europeans going to say, okay, well, we got to follow the law. We're going back to Europe. Here's your land.
No, for real. That's exactly what they're going to do.
Okay, brother. All right.
What do you mean? Like, so you're telling me, right? You're telling me that if our people started to say, you know what? Forget Negro, black, and whatever like that. We're gonna have a nationality. Forget what nationality. Pick somewhere on the planet and claim that as your nationality. And these people stop being these wards, or stop being property of these Europeans and stand up for themselves instead of marching and picketing and bitching when something happens. How about stand up for yourself? Guarantee.
Right. That means war, brother.
No, it
That's what
doesn't
that
mean
means.
war.
Yes, it does.
The pen
Nobody's
is
gonna
mightier
pick
than
up.
the sword. The pen is mightier than the sword. And I'm talking from the position of a Moor who's active, that knows Moors who are active, that when they stand on nationality and birthrights, these highwaymen, these colonists, these conquistadors, these KKK, these whoever you want to call them, white man, devil, whatever, they back the hell up off Moors.
But now that's piracy, human trafficking, treason, Universal Declaration of Human Rights. No one shall be arbitrarily deprived of a nationality nor the right to change one. My child is not Negro, black, or colored, and so he is not under color of law. Your little 1724 Christian black codes, baby. I understand it very well. That's where your policies come from.
Why do you keep bringing up the color thing? Because we don't care.
That's color of law. That's how you enforce color of law. White male, black male. That's how you enforce your law. Yeah. You never describe the national descent of a people, because if you have to put down a national descent, you have to tell who you are. And all of you're American, right? You're American?
I am an American, yes.
You're American. You're not even a naturalized citizen, lady. You come from Europe. You're not American. American is a geographic landmass, north, central, and south, and adjoining islands. You people came here in 1492 and thus after. Where's your green card? Who gave you naturalization rights here in my land? I'm asking you. What nationality are you? What nation's flag, what country's flag do you come with? What country's flag are you here with? You're supposed to answer these questions. You know that, right? You have no other option.
So are you.
You have no other option.
What gives you more authority than us? What gives you more authority than us?
My nationality is recognized at the United Nations. It's on the public record, proclaimed. I'm not a 14th Amendment corporate person. I'm not a 15th.
That we'd like to get home to his parents. That's what this is
You're
about.
kidnapping my child and you refuse to identify yourself. You're covering up your name tag, ain't you? I already got it. Yeah, there you go.
My name tag, there
Yeah,
you go.
I know. I've been letting you know, but I knew what you were doing, though. Pretty smart, though. Yeah, but the first you covered the name tag.
Yeah.
And you, sir, look at all these people who are in this. This is funny. I have the right to walk where I want to walk. You know.
Hey, don't get too close to me.
You can't tell me that you have my child.
No,
you can't touch me.
You're not going to step up.
I'm letting you know right now, you don't have the right to do anything to me. I do not consent to your private corporate law. That's my child. And you have not properly identified yourself in law, and you know you haven't. That's why you're looking fearful. You have not properly identified yourself in law.
There is no fearful here.
Okay, you have my child. You can say what you want to say all you want to. You can, once you touch me, I'm going to own your ass. That's my child. I already got you for that. You can get all puppy if you want to. I got each one of you.
Okay.
Yeah, I got each one of you. I got every last one of you.
When we're done here.
No, when you're done here, what? Interrogating my child like the Inquisition? That's my child. That's my child. You have not. You can't tell me what to do, man. You can't tell me what to do, and you know it. You know that's my child. You have. You want to harm me. I know you want to touch me.
Okay, you guys come on back.
Yeah.
I'm not going to touch you like that. That's my child you got. And so conspiracy, and kidnapping. You got to know the law. I'm trying to help you here. But, I appreciate your resolve for standing your ground. My child is not a ward of the state. Your corporate state. So you just admitted you kidnapped my child. Thank you. You have no right. You have not identified yourself properly in law.
They don't play around with Moors like how they play with Negroes. I'm telling you that from experience.
But
right?
So more. I've seen Moors get arrested. I've seen Moors go to jail.
Let me ask you this though. Hold on a second. You seen Moors get arrested. You seen Moors go to jail. Did you hear about the outcome? Do you know what happened after that?
No.
All right, so you can't even use that. Like, for example, we seen black guys get shot and they're laying right there. for 5, 6, 7, 12 hours before they do something with the body. Right?
Right.
We know that happens. We have documented proof that that happens. Not us, what those people are saying. We have European highwaymen, European police officers stopping Europeans and telling them, you don't worry. We only kill black people. We don't kill Europeans.
Reason open the door. Now listen to me. Call the person that was coming to get you. Tell them they don't need to come. All right? Yes. Okay? So go ahead and call them. I'm going to take you to jail, and I'm going to impound the car.
Before that, she needs to go to...
No.
I can't call them if you don't open the door.
Why can't you?
Because I will not put my...
Use your phone. It's in your lap right there.
I just don't want to put my hands down. I'm really sorry. I'm just...
You're just really wrong.
No. I've just been way too many videos of problems.
But you're not black. Remember, we only kill black people. Yeah, we only kill black people, right? All the videos you've seen, have you seen any white people get killed? You have.
I don't know what's in his heart, but I certainly know what came out of his mouth. And it's inexcusable, and we have to take appropriate action. The recommendation is to terminate his employment from the Cobb County Police Department.
Why are you worried? Why you don't want to give me your license or whatever? Don't be scared. We only kill black people.
So what about Corinne Gaines? Corinne Gaines
was suing the police department that killed her. That's why they killed her.
Yes, they killed her. That's the point.
Say that again.
They killed her.
But they killed her because she was suing them. They didn't kill her because of rights or she was standing up for something. They killed her because she was suing all their asses for previous stuff that they did.
Okay, then. That's the point.
Well, that's not the point, because she was suing them. She wasn't just out there doing nothing. She had a lawsuit on these people. Why wouldn't they kill her?
It's more than one way to fight a war. On top of that, if she had a real nation standing behind her, I don't think that would have happened. So I get the points from both perspectives. So, but a war is fought more than one way. And man, we got to use our brain when we're dealing with this, and we can't just be like, oh, that's the enemy, we just gonna bang it out with them. Nah, that's not how that goes.
Well, then you can forget about getting freedom. All right? That's just the reality, man. This stuff, I mean, to be honest, man, I mean, this stuff is delusional, brothers.
But again, you're talking from a perspective of somebody who hasn't been a Moor, so you can't talk about it's delusional. I'm talking. And
it's not only, I'm not saying that none of it is not effective, you know, but at the end of the day, when you're talking about getting down to the get down, and you're talking about assets and land, these people ain't moving for no paperwork, man, and no law. It's not happening.
You're not.
Corinne Gaines was suing him, right? And she might have had a legit case, and she got murdered.
No, but listen. Look, they got brothers, sisters right now inside that did nothing, and they're arrested. So stop looking at
okay, that shows you who has the power.
Stop looking at what people good are doing, right? And denouncing it because you didn't do it or you don't see something happening or whatever like that. Don't look at it like that.
Yeah, I'm not denouncing it. That's what I'm saying. Like, I know there's different aspects of any war, but ultimately, if you want freedom from what we in, you're gonna have to fight at some point.
And all we're saying is that the fight is based on the pen, not the sword. Because these people, if they say tomorrow we want to get rid of black people, all they got to do is do the same thing that they did to move in Philly to all the hoods, and they eliminate the people that they want to eliminate. But then if they go do that, that's going to be bait. That's going to let everybody know that there's really an agenda against these people when they're really trying to live a little bit because they have nowhere to go to. Moors are waking up in Japan. Moors are waking up in Philippines. Moors are even waking up in Europe.
What part of the earth does war put you on? What landmass?
More don't put you on any landmass. That's why he said a Moorish mindset. That's why I said let's tackle it from a different angle. Let's come to a common ground. That's how nations are built, from a oneness of mind. It don't even matter
Exactly.
where you're at.
Yeah. Facts.
Well, you gotta live somewhere, man. What
No,
do you, I
but
mean,
America.
where you
Look,
operating
let's go with
from?
that.
Right,
We in America.
but look at it like this again, right? People are gonna say, for example, somebody in the chat was saying, "Oh well, more means whatever they assume that it means." More doesn't mean what people assume, right? The person in the chat said, "Well, more means wasted land or whatever," right? Okay, more means land, but more also means Moroccan. More also means Mauritanian. If you talk to Filipinos, Moro means dark-skinned people of Philippines. If you talk to a German, M-O-H-R. If you talk to somebody French, M-A-U-R-E. If you talk to somebody in ancient Kemet, M-A.U-R. If you talk to Hebrews, El is more. El Shaddai was the Hebrew God before Yahweh. But the Hebrew is not going to go there because then they got to justify the El, which is Canaanite.
This is the Bible's explanation for the name Yahweh. But there are certain important and unique features of this burning bush dialogue. First, God identifies himself to Moses as the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. He reveals to Moses a new name, Yahweh, so that Yahwism and the Yahweh cult can be said to begin only with Moses. Exodus 6, verses 2 to 4, very important passage. Exodus 6, verses 2 to 4. And here God says, I am Yahweh. I appeared to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob as El Shaddai, but I did not make myself known to them by my name, Yahweh.
וארא אל אברהם, אל יצחק ואל יעקב באל שדי, ושמי אדוני לא נודעתי להם.
Now this contradicts the J source. And many scholars have suggested that P and E preserve a memory of a time when Israel worshipped the Canaanite god El. P and E wish to claim that the God who covenanted with the patriarchs is the God of the Exodus, but now with a new name. God is 6 times called El Shaddai. Other names are El Elyon, El Olam, El Roi, El Bethel. You can see the translations of these. The everlasting God, God Most High, a God of seeing, the God of the house of God, and so on. El is the name of the chief god in the Canaanite pantheon. It's an important set of texts that were discovered at a place called Ras Shamra. Ras Shamra was ancient Ugarit. In 1928, a peasant in Syria discovered a tomb at Ras Shamra, which was subsequently excavated by the French, and it was found to contain a library of tablets that were written in a language very, very close to Biblical Hebrew. It's clear that Hebrew is simply a Canaanite dialect. In fact, I remember reading one scholar said if you go back far enough, you're really hard-pressed to tell the difference between Canaanite and Hebrew. And in these texts, we read of the exploits of the gods of Canaanite religion. These gods include the sky god El, I've listed here, the father of the various gods and humans. El has a wife, Asherah, she's listed 3rd on your paper, a mother goddess, their daughter Anat, who is a goddess of love and war, she's quite fierce, and then their son Baal, who is a storm god. He's depicted in mythological literature as defeating both the chaotic sea god, the sea god Yam, and the god of death, Mot. There are striking resemblances between the biblical God of the patriarchs and the Canaanite god El. El is the head of the council of gods. He is said to have a long white beard. He dwells on a mountain top in a tent. His epithets include father of all creatures, bull, king. He's also described as the protector of patriarchs, patriarchal figures, a god of the father of the clan, it says in the texts. He guides them, he protects them, he promises them descendants. Many biblical passages depict God exactly this way, as the head of a council of divine beings. He's occasionally described with some of the epithets that are associated with El. He's referred to as the father of all creatures. There are poetic passages in which he is referred to as bull, also certainly as king. And in the patriarchal narratives, God refers to himself as the God of the Father. I am the God of the Father, the same way El is referred to. He guides and protects the patriarchs. He makes promises of progeny to Abraham and his heirs. He also is associated with a mountaintop, Sinai, and gives instructions for the building of a tabernacle, a tent-like structure in which he will dwell. Many personal and place names in the patriarchal narratives are compounds in which one element is El. Yisrael, Yishmael, Beth El. El is the God of the patriarchs. By contrast, after the time of Moses, Israelite names start to be formed using Yah or Yahu as part of the name Yahweh. Elijah in Hebrew is Eliyahu. So you start to have theophorics, names that use the name of a deity, which are using forms of Yahu instead of El.
Yahoo! And we know, at the end of the day, people can say you more, say you not more, whatever, man. It's just a description of a person, a description of certain land based upon maps and whatever. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
I have
Can I ask
no.
something real quick?
Say that again?
Can I ask? I want to ask Canaanland more real quick or something. When you say we need to think like Moors, right? From what I learned from Moors is that you have to deal with these people in contracts. Everything we doing is we need to deal in contracts. Is that what you're saying? Instead of acquiescing into that jurisdiction?
Well, the only reason that we acquiesce is because we don't have knowledge. If the people had knowledge, if the people knew, for example, that United States of America is a corporation, not a government. I don't care if they call it republic, democracy, or whatever. If people knew that United States was a corporation, not a government, when United States approaches them, they would deal with them like they deal with Walmart or McDonald's or whatever other corporations out there. They're not going to deal with them like they're somebody special because they got an office and a White House or whatever. They're still a corporation.
Right. And that's why I said, is that why you said that we have to conduct our business as if this is a business through contracts? Because
right.
If you look at the UCC, that is copywritten by the British company, by the British. So we're under foreign occupation as we speak. So how does the United States going into bankruptcy in 1933 affect us?
Well, the reason that it affects us is because it was because of us why they went bankrupt. Because in 1928, Noble Drew Ali went to the 6th Pan American Conference, where he put these people on notice that are called United States, along with everybody else who had a government in the Americas in the 1920s, and let them know that my people aren't Negro, black, colored anymore, so you can't use them as your base. When he did that, that's why they never tell you about stock market, or they never tell you about the government, so-called, falling in 1929. When they say 1933, they're leaving out 4 years, because if they go back, if they say 1929, you're gonna have to bring up the Pan American Conference of 1928. If they say 1933, now you could go into McFadden and the New Deal. And
Are you saying Noble Drew Ali crashed the stock market, bro?
Yeah, he did.
But now we're going to read from the Malta Book of the Dead. Once again, this is the cover. Peter Moon. And we're going to be going to chapter 58, entitled The Ali Shuffle. And I'm going to be reading from page 418. When the Moorish science reached its peak in 1929, it was on the heels of the greatest but most dangerous discoveries Drew Ali ever made. In 1928, Ali attended a Pan American conference in Havana, Cuba, where he enjoyed broad recognition from a host of other countries. They were, of course, recognizing his sovereign status as a Moorish national, who was representing the ancient empire of Amexem. Let me read that sentence one more time. They were, of course, recognizing his sovereign status as a Moorish national who was representing the ancient empire of Amexem. I wanted to highlight that sentence just to clarify the difference between the so-called sovereign citizen movement that is being propagated by the U.S. government and its media, the corporately controlled mainstream quote-unquote media. There's been a lot of press lately propagating the idea of the sovereign citizen movement and attaching itself to the Moorish Divine and National movement, attaching itself to the Moorish Science Temple of America and Moorish Americans. And to clarify, we are not. We never have been, we never will be sovereign citizens, nor are we associated with the sovereign citizen movement. We teach nationality, law. Our status is sovereign as Moorish nationals in our own homeland, which is the ancient empire of Amexem. Let me continue. Keep in mind that other countries had no reason to fear Jew Ali or what he represented. It was at this conference, however, that he received a document that was to change the face of the Moorish Science Temple of America forever, and would eventually lead to what is known as the Great Schism. That is the name the Moorish community uses to refer to the dispersal of Moorish science into different groups. The document Drew Ali received was a copy of a mandate whereby the Amexem Empire extended a land grant of the entire Western Hemisphere to certain Europeans. I have not yet seen the document, and its exact contents are highly mysterious, yet its ramifications literally turn the United States of America upside down. Essentially, it leased America to a certain party for a particular number of years, not unlike the way China leased Hong Kong to Great Britain. The lease was up in 2004. It is entirely reasonable to believe that such a document, if it still exists and can be brought to light, is a mere relic of a long-forgotten era that has no significant meaning in today's legal system. And that would be fine, except for one very important point. If you truly studied the detailed legal history of the United States of America, you would understand that there is more than a little truth to the prospect of there being such a document. Why? The entire legal history of the United States is predicated on such a proposition. What is known is that Secretary of State Hughes from the U.S. government attended the Pan American Conference and was made privy of this mandate. So were several other heads of state. As a result, a closed-door conference between several nations was held in Geneva, Switzerland, and a labyrinth series of discussions and negotiations began. The Geneva conferences went on for some 5 years, but the records are still kept sealed to this very day. It is known that several international banks called in their loans as a result of this potential legal threat, and the stock market crashed in 1929.
But why? Not him personally, by him waking up the people to the fact that they're not these people's property. And remember, the stock market is not about dollars and cents. It's about stock. It's about people.
Yep.
That's why they have that's why when they say, for example, when they say 14th Amendment and 15th Amendment, and you have all these Negroes trying to play this game with their people that, oh, well, we have a legitimate position because of civil rights, and we have rights as black people, and you need to respect us. There's no such thing as civil rights. That stuff was unconstitutional in the Supreme Court in the 1800s. How come these Negro leaders, aren't telling their people that civil rights has been unconstitutional since the 1800s? That's a documented fact by Europeans, not by us.
What's the document, man? That we need to know that. Because I don't know that.
You just Google unconstitutional civil rights, and so much stuff will come up that stuff's
It
unconstitutional.
sounds like you're trying to downplay the civil rights movement, man.
I'm not. No, it's not downplay. It's unconstitutional. If it's unconstitutional, that means it has no standing of law and shouldn't even be used in that capacity. But what do you have? Negro, black, colored leaders, African came over here on a slave ship leaders are telling people that they have civil rights in 2018. That's a fraud. There's no such thing as civil rights. Civil rights don't exist. It's a fiction. It's an illusion.
Well, something happened because now I can go into any movie theater and sit on the bus wherever I want and go to any college I want.
Right.
But check this for the civil rights movement, I wasn't able to do that. And there's a lot of people who died for that movement,
that's part of the con.
That's a privilege, yo.
That's part of the con. The whole con is that you should be going to your own goddamn movie theater. Why the hell are you going to somebody else's movie theater?
Well, anybody can build a movie theater now, but you have the choice to go to anywhere you want in the public. Are you saying that this Medgar Evers was an agent? That's what you're saying?
Let me say again.
Oh, brother, Medgar Evers got shot, killed, brother.
Let me say again. Any leader telling you that you're Negro, that you're black, that you're colored, that you're African, that came over here on a slave ship, that they can't even show you a slave ship, they're playing you. I'm letting you know that. I came from all those schools. I came from the Hebrew school.
Well, they might not even have been aware of all that, man. They was just working with what they had at the time. You know, they might not even been into all of that. They just trying to make things move, bro.
Let me ask you this. How come, if that's the case, how come the people in Black Wall Street didn't need civil rights to build Black Wall Street?
Facts. I agree with
and what happened to it?
What happened to it?
That was early on, and then what happened to it? They bombed it.
Why did they bomb it?
Because that's what people do with power.
No, they bombed it because these people were calling themselves black.
Are you telling me if they would have called themselves Moors, they wouldn't have bombed it?
They wouldn't have bombed shit.
Man, you're crazy, bro. Come on, man. You're crazy, bro.
Right now, and this
no matter what they would have called themselves, it would have got bombed, man. This is what
I was talking about earlier about people bringing their emotions into.
Nah, I'm not bringing emotions, brother. That's just not reality. You're trying to say they got bombed because they called themselves black? Come on now, that's ridiculous, bro.
The same reason why people get shot up today is because they're calling themselves black, which means
the cops don't know the status of a person before they shoot them. Some of these dudes were shot before when they was just reaching in there for the cell phone. How do you know what his status was?
And you know what that is?
And so if he would have had on the fez, he wouldn't have got shot. Come on, bro.
Because you're talking crazy. Hold on. Let me bring you into this, right? If you classify yourself as black, what these people do that are called Europeans, that our people call white man and all that stuff, the devil or whatever, what they do is that they use Christian black codes on you. Now, before you say something, make sure you go read the Christian black codes, 54 articles. When you read the Christian black codes, every single thing in there, you're going to see paralleled with what our people are dealing with today.
Man, I know about it, and it ain't gonna change, bro. These people in power, they could care less what you call yourself, man, at the time when it's time to get it in, man.
And again, you keep going back to that. Okay, let me ask you this question. Let me ask you this, right? Don't you think that if our people were really about the get down with the get down, like you're saying, right? Getting back their power, having freedom or whatever like that. If they were really about that, wouldn't they exercise their right to bear arms and do something? Because everybody else is doing that, right?
No, everybody else is not doing that. What do you mean everybody else is doing that?
You tell me somebody that's not exercising their right to bear arms except Negroes. Tell me.
Man, there's plenty of so-called Negroes exercising their right to bear arms. Where do you live, bro?
Bro, You can't exercise rights if you don't have rights.
Oh my God.
How are you going to exercise rights if you don't have a status? You think because you went and registered your firearm, you're exercising your right to bear arms? That's not exercising your right to bear arms.
Oh man.
And I guarantee you go, if hold on a second, I bet you go and ask all these Huey P. Newton gun club whoever's if their guns registered. I bet you their guns registered. And if their guns registered, then that means that's not their gun. That's the government, which is really a corporation's gun.
Right, and everybody else, even white people, register their guns too.
Yeah, but what's the difference? The difference is that United States of America, white people could be citizens of that because that's their corporation. So they have those rights.
So you have a different status than other black people because you call yourself a Moor. They ain't gonna gun you down. That's what you're saying. Your status protects you from bullets.
That's not just me. The status protects anybody.
No, it don't. No, it don't, brother. That's crazy.
Find me some Chinese people that got killed by a European out here. Find me some Hindus that got killed by a European. Find me any race other than black people that are out there marching.
It's because their attack is on black people.
Hold on.
It ain't got nothing to do with they're identifiable because of their phenotype and their color. I see you. You're a nigga. That's your status, bro, when they look at you.
No. Because when they see me, they see fez first or turban first, which lets them know that I'm not a nigger.
Man, bro, you're delusional, bro. I don't even mean to be disrespectful, bro.
Now I'm delusional.
Because ain't no fez stopping nobody from classifying you and say, oh, that's you just a nigga with a fez on. That's the reality, bro.
Again, I'm telling you, I'm not assuming. I'm not speaking from a perspective like these YouTube fucking people out here that they're just on screen and that's the only place that they're conscious. I'm not talking about these people on 125th Street that they just walk up and down 125th Street on a camera and you think that that's how they live their life or whatever. I'm talking about, I know individuals who they had 9 felonies and their status is why all the cases got thrown out. You can go on his YouTube page, Moreno Bay. He talks about it.
What's his name?
Moreno. M-O-R-E-N-O.
Personally, bro, like I said, I don't disregard, obviously, if you know things about the law, man, that's going to help in anything. But I think you're definitely underestimating the nature of the beast. And
no, don't get it twisted.
And there is no status. They rule by brute force. That's the bottom line. The courts and all that is a game. They don't honor none of that, bro. When they came over here, wasn't there laws already here? And they came and they conquered you when they put their own laws in place and they run it. They don't.
But listen to how you're talking. You're talking like you're not one of the conquered people.
Whoever conquered you? What do you mean? Right. They conquered us. Whoever wins the war, it's the right of conquest, man. They enforce their laws, man. What are you talking about? The only way we're gonna get free is we go. Let me just state this real quick. All right, you would have to get some land, bro, and move and be able to move people to that land and somehow become autonomous.
Okay, now let me ask you.
Where your land, and then you can enforce rights and rules. You're not going to be in America and you trying to run a sub government.
It's not a sub.
You're basically y'all are trying to run a sub government, man.
No, because sub means under, and I already told you that.
Exactly.
But they're not a government; they're a corporation. Why you keep calling them a government?
Because the corporations they're corporations, and they're set up where they run government.
I found them, Canaanland. I found them.
If they're a corporation, they're a corporation. Don't tell me about their pretending the government and whatever like that.
Whatever it is, why do you even go to court in the first place then? They're not a real court, right? They don't have no authority. Don't even go. Don't even show up.
Right, and the reason why you go to court, which some Moors
because if you don't, they're gonna put a warrant out for your ass, bro. You're gonna get locked up, man.
Hold on. Don't get it fucked up, bro. Because we know Moors who they went to court, right? Court said case dismissed and no issues, right? We also know Moors who said, just like what you're saying, fuck them. I'm not going to their court. And because they're Moors, because their status, the court called them at their house on court day to tell them, are you coming today? We just wanted to check to see if you're coming today because we wanted to let you know that we're going to throw the charges out. Find me a Negro that didn't go to court that they called their house. Find me a black guy that they
Man, come on, brother.
I'm speaking from.
Hey, this is a white man. We just calling it. We're gonna be nice today and let you know that you didn't show up, and we're gonna. It had to be something they was gonna throw out in the first place, man.
Listen,
but if it was a murder case and your ass didn't show up, trust me, they would have came to your house and got your ass.
Remember something, right? Remember something. Keep in mind this, right? Before I got on the call, you and everybody else over here was talking over everybody like a bunch of niggers, right? Now that I got on, right? And I set the standard that what the issue is with our people, you notice how everybody shut the hell up and they have their
Hold on, we was talking like a bunch of niggers.
Listen,
that's where you fucked up at, because listen, 3 people left the fucking call. You know what I'm saying? If we want to talk about the Moore Sundry Act of 1790, we could take it there.
We was talking about. What's all this? We was talking like a bunch of niggers.
Yeah, man. You were. Yeah, you were.
You know what? Now I'm gonna talk like a nigga. You're delusional, my nigga.
Right?
And ain't no courtroom, but ain't no white man ain't gonna call you and be nice. Hey, guess what, man? You don't have to come to court today. Maybe because you had a parking ticket, nigga. You go murder somebody and then don't show up to fucking court for your murder trial and see if they call you. And see if they call you and be like, hey, Mr. Murderer, we just want to let you know we got to throw the man. Get out of here. You're delusional, bro.
I already told you where to go to deal with the guy who dealt with 9
Man, I seen all them bull crap videos. And it's paper terrorism. The reason why they throw them damn jerks out of court is because really it'd be silly cases. It'd be silly cases, brother. And they really don't want to deal with your paper terrorism. They even label it paper terrorism.
Moreno Bay beat 9 felonies. With no goddamn lawyer because of his status as a Moor. So
maybe he was just good at the law, man. They don't give a damn about no Moorish status, bro.
Go get at Moreno Bay. He beat 9 felonies, bro. Stop being a punk.
So Moreno Bay represents 40 million Negroes, and we can all just claim your Moorish status and beat these cases. Man, get out of here, bro. You out of your mind. You out of your mind.
If you're too coward, don't put cowardice.
No, I'm not that stupid to believe that this man.
No, don't call it stupid. Call it coward.
It is stupid.
That's what it is.
It's stupid.
Coward, just stop. Just shut the hell up. If you're too
man,
coward,
you got your ass kicked. Did they call you and tell you not to show up to court when they kicked your ass out of Spain? No, they kicked your ass out and then deported your asses out of Spain into Africa. You went into Africa and you was a part of the slave trade in Africa. You sellouts?
What are you talking about, sellouts? The freaking slave dungeon is in Ghana. Fuck you, bro. Africans fucking built them slave fucking dungeons, not Moors. Get the fuck out of here.
Man, you're delusional, bro.
Where the fuck is the slave castle at? In a Moorish country?
Man, you was right in there with them Arabs under Islam.
Where's the slave castle?
And y'all actually went in there and destroyed some of them African kingdoms, man. Get out of here, man.
Why you mad? Where's the slave castle?
I'm not mad, bro. I'm just saying, like, you just sound crazy.
Accept the fact, bro.
You talking about defeating empire.
I'm not talking about defeating nobody.
Taking down the Roman Empire with paperwork.
Your black mindset has you thinking about defeating somebody. I'm not talking about defeating somebody. I never mentioned once defeat some European. How the fuck are we good?
That's what you're talking about. That's what you're talking about.
You're telling me that it's just like these niggers that were on the slave plantation, right? Just like these punks on the slave plantation.
What's up with these?
One guy on a horse. You have one guy on a horse. You have 20 million Negroes picking cotton. None of them said, let's kick this nigga's ass on the horse, but they'll kill their brother tomorrow for some shit.
No, a lot of people said that. What are you talking about? And they did do that.
Kill their brother for some Jordans.
And they did do that.
They're not gonna go deal with this European.
You know, you sound like a white man, bro.
Oh yeah, of course. Yes, of course I
There was
saw.
many. The slaves were revolting all the time, killing people all the
That's
time. What are you talking
right.
about?
And again, that's your lower black self talking because you don't want to
My
accept.
lower black self.
Yeah, because your self,
Nigga, and your white ass is talking that bullshit.
Yes, because white means purity. White means knowledge.
Oh God, here we go, nigga.
You think that you're dealing with freaking one of
I
these?
wish you would have ran into George Zimmerman on that day with a fucking fez on. He would have blew your fucking brains all over your fez.
Fuck yourself, buddy. What George Zimmerman gonna be messing with Moors with fezzes on? Get the fuck out of here. How about you? Why don't you talk about the fact that Trayvon Martin's dad was a Mason? Fuck you. What are you talking about?
And
Trayvon Martin's dad was a Mason. Now what? Now what? He wore a fez. Now what? Now what, nigga? Now what?